All right, all praises to the Most High Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. It's your boy Yashar back at it with the young prophet Enoch. This topic is called the fall of the northern kingdom. So we're going to start off with 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 4 to 10. Read.
This is the book of 2 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 4. And the men of Judah came, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. And they told David, saying that the men of Jabesh Gilead were they that buried Saul.
Read on.
And David sent messengers unto the men of Jabesh Gilead, and said unto them, Blessed be ye of the Lord, that ye have showed this kindness unto your Lord, even unto Saul, and have buried him.
Read on.
And now the Lord show kindness and truth unto you, and I also will requite you to this kindness, because ye have done this thing.
Read on.
Therefore now let your hands be strengthened, and be ye valiant, for your master Saul is dead, and also the house of Judah hath anointed me king over them.
Read on.
But Abner, the son of Ner, captain of Saul's host, took Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim.
So King Saul died, and they made David king. But now, because of this, there is a guy who doesn't like this. And he rather have King Saul's son as king rather than David. Read on.
And made him, verse 9.
Verse 9.
And made him king over Gilead, and over Asherites, and over Jezreel, and over Ephraim, and over Benjamin, and over all Israel.
So now this man, he's taking King Saul's son and he's making him king, right? Read on.
Ishbosheth, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he began to reign over Israel, and reigned 2 years, but the house of Judah followed David.
So there's a split. This is the first split in Israel. Then this is before, this is way before Rehoboam, right? This is while King David is alive. This is before Solomon, right? While King David reigned, there's a split. So now watch this. Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 12 and verse 25.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 12 and verse 25. And Jesus knew their thoughts, and said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand.
Read right? So the nation, any kingdom that's divided will not stand. Any kingdom that's divided will not stand. And this is coming straight from the mouth of the Messiah, right? He's giving a warning, right? And let's read 2 Samuel chapter 3 and verse 1. This is out of the ESV.
This is the book of 2 Samuel chapter 3 and verse 1. There was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David, and David grew stronger and stronger, while the house of Saul became weaker and weaker.
So there was a war between the house of David and then the house of Saul. You see this? This was a split, right? Okay. So that was the first split. So now we're gonna start going into the second split. Let's read Hosea 7 and 11.
This is the book of Hosea chapter 7 and verse 11. Ephraim also is like a silly dove without heart. They call to Egypt, they go to Assyria.
So now this second split that we're gonna read about, this is between the northern kingdom and southern kingdom, right? That means the southern kingdom is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and then all the other tribes, that's considered the northern kingdom, with Ephraim as the head, right? So read that again.
Ephraim also is like a silly dove without heart. They call to Egypt, they go to Assyria.
All right. So now let's jump down to 1 Kings 11 and 28, because we want to read about the prophecy about this split, about this second split that's about to happen. Okay?
This is the book of 1 Kings chapter 11 and verse 28. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, and Solomon, seeing the young man that he was industrious, and he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph.
All right. So Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, right? He was an Ephraimite, and he was a mighty man of valor. And Solomon, when Solomon was king, Solomon made him, he gave him status, right? Read on. Let's go to verse 29.
And it came to pass at that time when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, and that the prophet Ahijah the Shilonite found him in the way, and he clad himself with a new garment, and they two were alone in the field.
So a prophet came up to Jeroboam, and he's about to prophesy to Jeroboam. Read verse 30.
And Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him and rent it in 12 pieces.
Read on.
And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces.
Take the 10 pieces. Those 10 pieces, that's for the 10 tribes. Read on.
For thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee.
You see? So God is saying, God is making this prophet prophesy to Jeroboam and telling him that he's gonna make him king over 10 tribes of Israel. So let's go to First Kings chapter 12 and let's read 1 to 4.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 12, and verse 1. And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were come to Shechem to make him king.
Right. So now Rehoboam is the son of Solomon. Solomon died. So now Rehoboam is up next for kingship. So they're gonna go to Shechem to make him king, right? Read on.
And it came to pass when Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt.
Read on.
That they sent and called him. And Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, Thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father and his heavy yoke, which he put upon us, lighter, and we will serve thee.
So remember when we said when we read Hosea 7 and 11, when it says Ephraim is a silly dove, he calls to Egypt. Look at First Kings chapter 12 verse 2. And it came to pass when Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt. Verse 3, that they sent and called him. See that? So they called to Egypt because Jeroboam was in Egypt, right? Not only that, but they also tend to be in idolatry and run to Egypt and run to Assyria. But that's a good point, right? So read verse 4 again.
Thy father made our yoke grievous.
So they talking to Rehoboam about Solomon, that Solomon made their yoke grievous. Read on.
Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father and his heavy yoke, which he put upon us, lighter, and now we will serve thee.
So he's saying, put it lighter, and we'll serve you. Reverse. Let's go 1 Kings 12 and 8.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 12 and verse 8. But he forsook the counsel of the old men, which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him and which stood before him.
So he didn't take the counsel of the old men. The old men was like, yo, be fair with the northern kingdom, be fair with them, and you'll be able to be king. While the younger men were talking about, nah, make it hard for them, whip them, make it grievous for them. Let's jump down to verse 10 and 11.
And the young men that were grown up with him spake unto him, saying, Thus shalt thou speak unto this people that spake unto thee, saying, Thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it lighter unto us. Thus shalt thou say unto them, my little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins.
So the young man is telling Rehoboam to say this to the people. Say that my little finger is going to be thicker than my father's loins, meaning I'm going to be worse than my father. Read verse 11.
And now whereas my father did lade you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father hath chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions.
You see, he's going to make it worse. Reverse, jump down to verse 14.
And spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions.
Meaning he's going to be worse. Read verse 15.
Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from the Lord, that he might perform his saying, which the Lord spake Ahijah the Shilonite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat.
So this was all meant to be, because it was already prophesied that the 10 tribes was going to be given to Jeroboam the son of Nebat, right? So this was already prophesied. So it was already put in Rehoboam's heart to be this way, because the split had to happen. Let's 1 Kings 12 and 16.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 12 and verse 16. So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, What portion have we in David? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse to your tents, O Israel. Now see to thine own house, David. So Israel departed unto their tents.
All right, let's go to 1 Kings 12 and 19.
Verse 19. So Israel rebelled against the house of David unto this day.
So the northern kingdom, the 10 tribes, they rebelled. They said, no, we're not gonna be under Rehoboam at all. We're not gonna do that, right? Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 12 and 20.
Verse 20. And it came to pass when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only.
At this point, but then the Levites and Benjamin follow the house of David. So the 10 tribes made Jeroboam king over them. So Jeroboam is the first king of the northern kingdom, right? When after the split, he's the first king. So what's actually happening here, and what you're gonna see, is that there was a total of 19 kings from the time of the split with Jeroboam and Rehoboam, all the way to the Assyrian captivity. There was 19 different kings that ruled over the northern kingdom of Israel. This right here with Jeroboam is the beginning of the fall of the northern kingdom. Now, let's get into that. Let's read 1 Kings chapter 12, and we're going to read 26 to 28.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 12, and verse 26. And Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David.
So he was scared that the northern kingdom was going to return to David. Read on.
If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord.
Because it was custom that they'll go down to Jerusalem for the feast and for the sacrificial offerings and everything, right? Read on.
Even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah.
So he was scared that they were going to turn on him, right? And you're going to see that this northern kingdom is very wicked, and they love turning on each other, right? Let's go to 28.
Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
So this wicked Jeroboam goes and makes freaking golden calves for the northern kingdom for them to worship. This is how wicked he is, right? We don't. 1 Kings 5 and 6, 15 and 6.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 15 and verse 6. And there was war between Rehoboam and Jeroboam all the days of his life.
So there's a split, and not only is there a split, but they're actually going to war, right? They went to war all the days of his life. This is not to be, right? According to the law, you're supposed to love your neighbor and be part, but you're not supposed to go to war with them, right? Okay. So now let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 13, and we're going to read 6 to 8.
This is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 13 and verse 6. Yet Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, the servant of Solomon, the son of David, is risen up and hath rebelled against his Lord.
So you see Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which is an Ephraimite. He was the servant of King Solomon. Remember, King Solomon made him, he gave him rank over, the northern kingdom, right? But he rebelled against his Lord, right? Read on.
And there are gathered unto him vain men, the children of Belial, and have strengthened themselves against Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, when Rehoboam was young and tender-hearted and could not withstand them.
Because remember, Jeroboam was a valiant man, right? He was a man of valor, right? And he was stronger than Rehoboam. Even his army was stronger than Rehoboam's army, right? Read on.
And now ye think to withstand the kingdom of the Lord in the hand of the sons of David, and ye be a great multitude. And there are with you golden calves, which Jeroboam made you for gods.
Now remember, this was Jeroboam's MO, making the calves and making Israel to sin, right? Let's jump to Hosea 4 and 17.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 17. Ephraim is joined to idols, let him alone.
Right, because remember, now all northern kingdom is indulged in idolatry, right? Let's go back to 2 Chronicles chapter 13, and let's pick up at verse 9.
This is the book of 2 Chronicles chapter 13 and verse 9. Have ye not cast out the priest of the Lord, the sons of Aaron and the Levites, and have made you priests after the manner of nations of other lands.
You see that? He cast out the sons of Levi and made his own priests. And he made the priest as a resemblance of the priest of the other nations. Not the sons of Aaron, not the Levites, but of the other nations, right? Let's go back to Hosea. Let's read chapter 7 and verse 10.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 7 and verse 10. And the pride of Israel testifieth to his face, and they do not return to the Lord their God, nor seek him for all this.
You see, they wicked. They just going off, just completely going off, right? Let's go back to 2 Chronicles 13 and 10.
This is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 13 and verse 10. But as for us, the Lord is our God, and we have not forsaken him. And the priests which minister unto the Lord are the sons of Aaron, and the Levites wait upon their businesses.
You see that? So Southern Kingdom, they kept it funky. They kept the original priest, right? The Aaronites, the sons of Aaron, the Levites. They kept them, those were the ones that God set up to be the priests, right? Those were the only ones that are supposed to minister as priests, the Levites, the sons of Aaron. Let's go back to Hosea and let's go to chapter 9 and verse 3.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 9 and verse 3. They shall not dwell in the Lord's land, but Ephraim shall return to Egypt, and they shall eat unclean things in Assyria.
So this is already prophesying that Ephraim and the northern kingdom is going to get kicked out the land. This is already prophesying what's going to happen and how they're going to return to Egypt and Assyria, right? They're going to run to Assyria. And we're going to read later on how much they love Assyria. We're going to read it, watch later on. Let's read 1 Kings 14 and 20.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 14 and verse 20. And the days which Jeroboam reigned were 22 years, and he slept with his fathers. And Nadab his son reigned in his stead.
So now we're talking about the second king of Israel, which is Jeroboam's son. Let's read 1 Kings 15, 25 to 26.
Verse 25. And Nadab the son of Jeroboam began to reign over Israel in the 2nd year of Asa king of Judah, and reigned over Israel 2 years.
So he reigned for 2 years. Read verse 26.
And he did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the way of his father, and in his sin wherewith he made Israel to sin.
So the same way Jeroboam made Israel to sin with the golden calves, so did Nadab his son, right? Okay. Let's go to Ezekiel 36:17 real quick.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36 and verse 17. Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own way and by their own doings. Their way was before me as the uncleanness of a removed woman.
You see that? So Israel, they constantly freaking defiled the land with their sins, right? Okay, let's go to 1 Kings 15 and 27.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 15 and verse 27. And Baasha, the son of Ahijah, of the house of Issachar, conspired against him.
Because he conspired against Nadab, the son of Jeroboam, okay?
And Baasha smote him at Gibbethon, which belonged to the Philistines, for Nadab and all Israel laid siege to Gibbethon.
So Baasha, which is now the third king, he killed Nadab. Okay. 1 Kings 15 and 28.
Even in the 3rd year of Asa, king of Judah, did Baasha slay him and reigned in his stead.
And see, he became the third king. Okay. So let's read 1 Kings 15 and 29.
Verse 29. And it came to pass when he reigned that he smote all the house of Jeroboam. He left not to Jeroboam any that breathed, until he had destroyed him, according unto the saying of the Lord, which he spake by his servant Ahijah the Shilonite.
So Ahijah, he's the same prophet that prophesied to Jeroboam, saying, "You're going to be the king. He's the Most High is going to give you 10 tribes, and you're going to be the king of those 10 tribes." But Ahijah also prophesied that Jeroboam was going to die and his whole household was going to die, right? Okay, let's go to 1 Kings 15 and 16.
Verse 16. And there was war between Asa and Baasha, king of Israel, all their days.
So Baasha, king of northern kingdom, constantly went to war with Asa, king of southern kingdom, all their days, right? So again, this split is not only a split, but is also war between the kingdoms. The both kingdoms are going to war with each other. Let's go to First Kings 15 and 17.
Verse 17. And Baasha, king of Israel, went up against Judah and built Ramah, that he might not suffer any to go out or come in to Asa, king of Judah.
So he built a wall and a whole basically he prevented northern kingdom from going to southern kingdom. He didn't want any mixing. He made sure that they stood at war and stood at odds with each other, right? Okay, let's go to First Kings chapter 16 and 1.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 16 and verse 1. Then the word of the Lord came to Jehu, the son of Hanani, against Baasha, saying,
Go to verse 2.
For as much as I exalted thee out of the dust, and made thee prince over my people Israel, and thou hast walked in the way of Jeroboam, and hast made my people Israel to sin, to provoke me to anger with their sins.
So Baasha, after Baasha kills Nadab, he goes and he continues to make Israel to sin. So one has to ask, what was the point of him killing Nadab? Right? Nadab made Israel to sin. Baasha comes, Baasha kills Nadab, and now Baasha is making Israel to sin. So they're not doing any better. This is the third. Baasha is the third king of Israel, of Northern Kingdom, and he still continue to walk in the ways of Jeroboam, meaning you making Israel to sin. Let's go to Nahum chapter 1 and verse 3 real quick.
This is the book of Nahum, chapter 1 and verse 3. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet.
So the Most High is slow to anger, right? And you can see this. He's slow to anger. This is already the third king of the northern kingdom, and they're making Israel to sin, and the Most High has not yet put his wrath upon Israel, right? It hasn't happened yet. All right, let's go back to First Kings, and let's pick up 16 and 6.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 16 and verse 6. So Baasha slept with his fathers,
Meaning he died.
and was buried in Tirzah, and Elah, his son, reigned in his stead.
So now Elah, his son, is now king of Israel. This is the fourth king now. Okay, let's go to verse 7.
And also by the hand of the prophet Jehu, the son of Hanani, came the word of the Lord against Baasha and against his house, even for all the evil that he did in the sight of the Lord, in provoking him to anger with the work of his hands, in being like the house of Jeroboam, and because he killed him.
So Baasha is doing the same. He did the same thing that Jeroboam did, and Elah, his son, is going to do the same thing. Let's go to First Kings 16 and 8.
Verse 8. In the 26th year of Asa, king of Judah, began Elah, the son of Baasha, to reign over Israel in Tirzah 2 years.
So Elah, the son of Baasha, reigned for 2 years, right? Okay, let's go to the next verse, 1 Kings 16 and 9.
And his servant Zimri, captain of half of his chariots, conspired against him.
So now you have another northern kingdom person conspiring against Elah. All right, let's read on.
Conspired against him, as he was in Tirzah, drinking himself drunk in the house of Arza, steward of his house in Tirzah.
So Elah is over here getting drunk, and Zimri is getting ready to conspire against him. He's getting ready to kill him. Let's read verse 10.
And Zimri went in and smote him and killed him in the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, and reigned in his stead.
So you see that Zimri goes and kills Elah. Now, Elah is Baasha's son, right? Baasha was Jeroboam's wicked, Nadab was wicked, Baasha was wicked, Elah was wicked, and now here comes Zimri, right? Okay, let's go to 1 Kings 16 and 11.
And it came to pass, when he began to reign, as soon as he sat on his throne, that he slew all the house of Baasha, that he left him not one that pisseth against a wall, neither of his kinsfolk, nor of his friends.
So Zimri killed all of them. Same way Baasha killed all the house of Jeroboam, Zimri killed all the house of Baasha. All right, let's read on. Verse 12.
Thus did Zimri destroy all the house of Baasha according to the word of the Lord, which he spake against Baasha by Jehu the prophet.
Let's go to verse 13.
For all the sins of Baasha and the sins of Elah his son, by which they sinned, and by which they made Israel to sin, in provoking the Lord God of Israel to anger with their vanity.
So you see that? So far the first four kings of the northern kingdom of Israel were wicked, and they made all of Israel to sin. Okay, so now we got Zimri, right? Let's go to 1 Kings 16 and verse 15.
Verse 15. In the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, Zimri reigned 7 days in Tirzah, and the people were encamped against Gibbethon, which belonged to the Philistines.
So Zimri, he was able to be king for 7 days. 7 days. Let's go to the next verse, verse 16.
And the people that were encamped heard say, Zimri hath conspired.
So the people, they were camped outside of his place because they had heard that he conspired against Elah. So read on.
And hath also slain the king. Wherefore all Israel made Omri, the captain of the host, king over Israel that day in the camp.
So now all the people were like, we don't even want Zimri as king. We're going to make Omri our king. Forget Zimri. All right. So let's go to 1 Kings 16 and 23.
Verse 23. In the 31st year of Asa, king of Judah, began Omri to reign over Israel. 12 years, 6 years he reigned in 6 years reigned he in Tirzah.
So Omri was king for 6 years. Let's go to 1 Kings 16 and 17. We're gonna go back.
Verse 17. And Omri went up from Gibbethon and all Israel with him, and they besieged Tirzah.
You see that? So they besieged Tirzah where Zimri was, because remember Zimri, when he killed Elah, he was the one who he stood there at Tirzah. So now we got Omri getting ready to take out Zimri. These guys are so wicked. Go ahead. 1 Kings 16 and 18.
Verse 18. And it came to pass when Zimri saw that the city was taken, that he went into the palace of the king's house and burnt the king's house over him with fire and died.
So when Zimri saw that Omri and everybody else was coming for him, he burnt himself in the house. He burnt the palace with him inside it. So he basically committed suicide. All right. 1 Kings 16 and 19.
For his sins, which he sinned in doing evil in the sight of the Lord, in walking in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin, which he did to make Israel to sin.
So even Zimri, the little 7 days that he was ruler and king, even he did wickedness. Even he allowed Israel to sin, or made Israel to continue to sin. You see that? So now there's going to be a third separation. Watch this. Let's go to 1 Kings 16 and 21.
Verse 21. Then were the people of Israel divided into 2 parts. Half of the people followed Tibni, the son of Gadath, to make him king, and half followed Omri.
So now you got half of the northern kingdom following Tibni, and then you have the other half following Omri. Okay? There's another split. This is actually the third split. The third split. All right? Let's go to 1 Kings 16 and 22.
Verse 22. But the people that followed Omri prevailed against the people that followed Tibni, the son of Ganath. So Tibni died and Omri reigned.
So they killed Tibni and said, Omri's the king. And they actually went to war with each other. So there was the 10 tribes actually went to war with each other. You can say 5 tribes versus 5 tribes, let's just say, because they were split. So they go and they war with each other. Omri, kills Tibni, and Omri is now the king. Let's go to 1 Kings 16 and 23.
Verse 23. In the 31st year of Asa, king of Judah, began Omri to reign over Israel. 12 years, 6 years reigned he in Tirzah.
So now Omri is the 6th king, okay? Just so you know that he is the sixth king. Let's go to 1 Kings 16 and 24.
Verse 24. And he bought the hill of Samaria of Shemer for 2 talents of silver, and built on the hill, and called the name of the city which he built after the name of Shemer, owner of the hill of Samaria.
Okay, read on verse 25.
But Omri wrought evil in the eyes of the Lord, and did worse than all that were before him.
You see that? He did worse than all that was before him. So notice the pattern. One wicked king comes to power, another person kills him, becomes king, and does even more wickedness. Then another king comes, kills that reigning king, becomes king, and now he does even more wicked. And it's just a cycle. It just keeps happening. So now let's read 1 Kings 16:28.
Verse 28. So Omri slept with his fathers, and was buried in Samaria, and Ahab his son reigned in his stead.
All right, so Ahab is now the 7th king. And this Ahab, this is the famous Ahab who's married to Jezebel, right? So let's go to Jeremiah 31 and 20 right quick.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31 and verse 20. Is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a pleasant child? For since I spake against him, I do earnestly remember him still. Therefore my bowels are troubled for him. I will surely have mercy upon him, saith the Lord.
So this is the mercy that he's having on the northern kingdom now, because when he says Ephraim, he's not only talking about the tribe of Ephraim, but he's talking about the whole northern kingdom. You could refer to Ezekiel 36 or 37 to see how Ephraim is the head of the northern kingdom. And so a lot of the times when you see Ephraim, it's talking about the whole northern kingdom. So the reason why I brought this out is because, again, the mercy that the Most High has on northern kingdom is crazy. We already had 6 kings, and all of them were wicked, right? And all of them continue to make Israel to sin, and yet the Most High is still being merciful, right? Let's go back to 1 Kings 16 and let's pick up at 29.
Verse 29. And in the 38th year of Asa, king of Judah, began Ahab, the son of Omri, to reign over Israel. And Ahab, the son of Omri, reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years.
Notice how Asa, the king of Judah, has been king while all these other kings reigned. So northern kingdom went through 6 kings while southern kingdom still remained with that one king. Letting you know how southern kingdom was more loyal to their king and to each other rather than northern kingdom. How northern kingdom is very unloyal to each other, and how they so deceptive to each other. They just hate each other, right? All right, let's go to 1 Kings 16 and 30.
Verse 30. And Ahab, the son of Omri, did evil in the sight of the Lord above all that were before him.
You see that? So another wicked king, Ahab, he did. Look what it says. It says, and Ahab, the son of Omri, did evil in the sight of the Lord above all that were before him. So he did. When it's crazy, one king comes, he does more wickedness than the next king. Then the next one comes, does even more, and it just the wickedness just freaking grows, right? Let's go to verse 31.
And it came to pass as if it had been a light, if it has been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat.
You see that? It was a light thing for him to do that, meaning it was nothing for him to be more wicked than Jeroboam. Right? Read on.
That he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshipped him.
You see that? So he went and he took a wife of another nation, and not only that, but then he served their God. And there's a scripture where it says where Solomon was actually warned not to, in first Kings, I think 11, where Solomon was even, messing with so much strange women that he even went and started worshiping other gods. That's why it was taken from. That's why the kingdom was taken from him. But if you go to Deuteronomy, it says not to mess with these other nations because your heart will churn, right? So it's the law not to mess with these women. But then again, Ahab don't care about the law because he's wicked, right? Let's go to 1 Kings 22 and 37.
This is the book of First Kings, chapter 22 and verse 37. So the king died and was brought to Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria.
All right, so he dies, right? Let's go back to Jeremiah real quick. Jeremiah 31 and verse 22.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31 and verse 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man.
So a woman shall compass a man. So Jeremiah is saying, how long are y'all going to keep backsliding, right? And this woman who will compass a man, that's Jezebel. When you read the story about Ahab and Jezebel, which I'm going to do a topic on it, but when you read it, she actually ruled the kingdom. And he was king, but she actually ruled the kingdom. And you'll see when I do that class, it's going to be called Thrones of Deception, right? So now let's look at the eighth king now. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 22 and verse 40.
This is the book of First Kings, chapter 22 and verse 40. So Ahab slept with his fathers, and Ahaziah, his son, reigned in his stead.
So this is the eighth king, Ahaziah, right? Okay, this is Ahab's son. Let's go to 1 Kings 22, and we're going to read 51 and 52.
This is the book of First Kings, chapter 22 and verse 51. Ahaziah, the son of Ahab, began to reign over Israel in Samaria the 17th year of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, and reigned 2 years over Israel.
All right, so now Ahab's son, he starts to reign for 2 years. Go ahead.
And he did evil in the sight of the Lord.
Another wicked king. Read on.
And walked in the way of his father, and in the way of his mother, and in the way of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin.
So remember, they're worshiping Baal, they're worshiping the golden calves, and they just reckless. All right, let's go to 2 Kings 3, and we're going to read 1 to 3.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 3 and verse 1. Now, Jehoram, the son of Ahab, began to reign over Israel in Samaria the 18th year of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, and reigned 12 years.
So this is the 9th king. Joram is the 9th king. Jehoram, the same person, right? That's the 9th king now. All right, read on.
And he wrought evil in the sight of the Lord, but not like his father and like his mother, for he put away the image of Baal that his father had made.
All right, so he did wickedness, but it just wasn't Baal worship. All right, read on, verse 3.
Nevertheless, he cleaved unto the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, which made Israel to sin. He departed not therefrom.
So he was still worshiping the golden calf, though, right? Okay. Let's go to 1 Kings 19 and verse 16. 1 Kings 19 and 16.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 19 and verse 16. And Jehu, the son of Nemishi, shalt thou anoint to be king over Israel. And Elisha, the son of Shaphat of Abel Maloha, shalt thou anoint to be prophet in thy room.
So there's a prophecy in 1 Kings chapter 19 that Jehu was going to become king over Israel, right? So let's go back to 2 Kings and let's start at verse 14. 2 Kings chapter 9, verse 14.
This is the book of 2 Kings chapter 9 and verse 14. So Jehu, the son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nemishi, conspired against Joram.
So now you got Jehu conspiring against Joram, right? Go ahead.
Now Joram had kept Ramoth Gilead, he and all Israel, because of Hazael, king of Syria.
All right. Let's go to 2 Kings 9 and 21.
Verse 21. And Joram said, make ready, and his chariot was made ready. And Joram, king of Israel, and Ahaziah, king of Judah, went out, each in his chariot. And they went out against Jehu and met him in the portion of Naboth the Jezreelite.
All right, it's about to go down. Let's see 2 Kings 9 and 22.
And it came to pass when Joram saw Jehu that he said, is it peace, Jehu? And he answered, what peace? So long as the whoredoms of thy mother Jezebel and her witchcrafts are so many.
So Joram is telling Jehu, yo, what's up? Is there peace between us, or you know what I'm saying? Or is there beef? Like, what's going on? And Jehu's like, nah, nigga, as long as you keep sinning like with like your father and your mother, nah, there is no peace, right? Second Kings 9:24.
And Jehu drew a bow with his full strength, and smote Jehoram between his arms, and the arrow went out at his heart, and he sunk down in his chariot.
Let's read verse 20. Second Kings 10:20.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 10 and verse 20. And Jehu said, proclaim a solemn assembly for Baal, and they proclaimed it.
So now Jehu, which is the 10th king, is another wicked dude who actually made an assembly for Baal. Rather than make an assembly for the Most High, he goes and just continues to worship Baal, right? These dudes are wicked, bro. All right, let's go to Second Kings. So remember that Jehu was the 10th king. So let's go to 2 Kings 13, and we're going to read at verse 1.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 13 and verse 1. In the 23rd year of Joash, son of Ahaziah, king of Judah, Jehoahaz, son of Jehu, became king of Israel in Samaria.
That's the 11th king. Go ahead.
And he reigned over 17 years. Verse 2. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord by following the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit, and he did not turn away from them.
You see that? So this is the 11th king and still committing the same sins and still making Israel to sin. All right? Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 11, and we're going to read verse 21.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 11 and verse 21. 7 years old was Jehoash when he began to reign.
This is the 12th king. All right, read on.
In the seventh year of Jehu.
This is 2 Kings chapter 12, verse 1.
In the 7th year of Jehu, Jehoash began to reign, and 40 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Zebiah of Beersheba. So Jehoash, he reigned 40 years, right? 40 years. Let's go to verse 2 Kings chapter 12 and verse 2. This is the book of 2 Kings chapter 12 and verse 2. And Jehoash did that which was right in the sight of the Lord all his days, wherein Jehoiada the priest instructed him. So
Joash was actually the first righteous king to rule over the northern kingdom of Israel. And mind you, when he took the throne, he was a young man. He was only 7 years old. But he had a righteous man next to him, guiding him and telling him what to do, right? He had the priest, Jehoiada, right? All right, let's go to 2 Kings 14 and 23.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 14 and verse 23. In the 15th year of Amaziah, son of Joash, king of Judah, Jeroboam, son of Joash, king of Israel, became king of Samaria.
So this is the 13th king. His name is Jeroboam. This is not Jeroboam 1, obviously. This is Jeroboam 2. Okay, read on.
And he reigned 41 years. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord and did not turn away from any of the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit.
So here we go. You have his father, Jehoash, was a righteous man, yet when Jehoash dies and Jeroboam becomes king, Jeroboam goes back to the same sins as Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and making Israel again to sin. Right? The 13th king making Israel to sin again. All right. Let's read 2 Kings 14 and 29.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 14 and verse 29. Jeroboam rested with his ancestors, the kings of Israel, and Zechariah, his son, succeeded him as king.
So now we have another son, and this is the 14th king, right? The 14th king, and this is Jeroboam's son. Read on. Let's go to 2 Kings 15 and 8.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 15 and verse 8. In the 38th year of Azariah, king of Judah, did Zechariah, the son of Jeroboam, reign over Israel and Samaria 6 months.
All right. Let's go to 2 Kings 15 and 10.
Verse 10. And Shalom, the son of Jabesh, conspired against him, and smote him before the people, and slew him, and reigned in his stead.
So now we have another king, Shalom. This is the 15th king. The 15th king of northern kingdom of Israel. His name is Shalom, right? Shalom. All right. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 15 and verse 14.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 15 and verse 14. For Menahem, the son of Gadi, went up to Tirzah, and came to Samaria, and smote Shalom, the son of Jabesh in Samaria, and slew him, and reigned in his stead.
Right. So now this is the 16th king. Menahem is now the 16th king. Let's read verse 17.
Verse 17. In the 9 and 13th year of Azariah, king of Judah, began Menahem, the son of Gadi, to reign over Israel, and reigned 10 years in Samaria.
Right. So he reigned 10 years in Samaria. Let's read verse 19.
Verse 19. And Pul, the king of Assyria, came against the land, and Menahem gave Pul 1,000 talents of silver, that his hand might be with him to confirm the kingdom in his hand.
So Menahem was paying off the king of Assyria. So basically, Assyria, the king of Assyria basically had northern kingdom on lock. He had him under pressure where they had to pay him. Right. So Menahem was under payment. He was giving payment. Right. Let's read verse 20.
Verse 20. And Menahem exacted the money of Israel, even of all the mighty men of wealth, of each man 50 shekels of silver to give to the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria turned back and stayed not there in the land.
So so this 16th king of the northern kingdom of Israel was making payments and taking the payments from every man and then paying off the king of Assyria, right? Okay. So let's look at the 17th king. Let's go to 2 Kings 15 and verse 22.
Verse 22. And Menahem slept with his fathers, and Pekahiah his son reigned in his stead.
Right. So he's the 17th king. Let's read verse 23.
Verse 23. In the 15th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekahiah the son of Menahem began to reign over Israel and Samaria, and reigned 2 years.
He reigned for 2 years now. So you see how all these kings, their reign is short. Their reign is so short. They only reign for a little while. You know, I think the most one was like 40 years or something like that. Let's go to 2 Kings 15 and 24.
Verse 24. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin.
So even this king, all the way down to like the 16th, 17th king, he's still freaking committing sin. Still sinning, right? Still doing the same thing as Jeroboam did, which was to make Israel to sin with the golden calves, right? Okay, let's go to verse 25.
Verse 25. But Pekah, the son of Remaliah,
Remaliah,
a captain of his, conspired against him, and smote him in Samaria, in the palace of the king's house, with Argob and Ariah, and with him 50 men of
Gileadites,
and he killed him, and reigned in his room.
So now Pekah goes, and kills Pekahiah. So now you got, again, there's nothing changes. This is the same story repeating since we started this. This one king goes and he kills the former king. Then another guy rises up, kills that king. He becomes king. So let's read. Let's read verse 27.
Verse 27. In the 52nd year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekah, the son of Remaliah began to reign over Israel and Samaria, and reigned 20 years.
So he reigned 20 years, right? Okay, let's go to verse 28.
Verse 28. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord.
Another wicked king.
He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin.
So this was a classic thing for all the kings to just keep continuing the sin of Jeroboam, which was the golden calves and the idol worship, right? Same thing. But now this Pekah guy, Pekah's the 18th king, right? So let's look at some prophecy about him. We're gonna go to Isaiah chapter 7, and we're gonna read 1 through 9.
This is the book of Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 1. And it came to pass in the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, that Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, went up toward Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail against it.
You see that? So Pekah got together with the king of Syria to battle against Jerusalem, to battle against the southern kingdom. This is something that's gonna make the Most High say, "That's it, it's done." Right? Let's read verse 2.
Verse 2. And it was told the house of David, saying, Syria is confederate with Ephraim, and his heart was moved, and the heart of his people, as the trees of wood are moved with the wind.
Read on.
Then said the Lord unto Isaiah, Go forth now to meet Ahaz, thou and Sherjahu. Right?
Something like share just sub.
Thy son, at the end of the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field.
Read on.
And say unto him, Take heed, and be quiet, fear not, neither be faint-hearted for the two tails of these smoking firebands, for the fierce anger of Rezin with Syria, and of the son of Remaliah.
All right, that's Pekah, the son of Remaliah. All right, so he's saying, take heed and fear not, but it's about to go down. Right, read on.
Because Syria, Ephraim, and the son of Remaliah have taken evil counsel against thee, saying, let us go up against Judah and vex it, and let us make a breach therein for us, and set a king in the midst of it, even the son of Tabeel.
You see that? So they even wanted to take over the southern kingdom and put their own king in there, right? They really wanted to do away with the southern kingdom. Read on.
Thus saith the Lord God, it shall not stand, neither shall it come to pass.
And so the Most High is saying, I am not going to allow it. I won't allow it to happen. Read on.
For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people.
That's it. So the Most High is letting it be known that that's it. He's done with Ephraim. This was about all he could take, right? He'd been long suffering all this time. I mean, you got 17 kings, and he's been so long suffering, right? All right, read on.
And the head of Ephraim is Samaria, and the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son. If ye will not believe, surely ye shall not be established.
Right. So now we know that this is gonna be the end of Northern Kingdom, right? This is gonna be the end. Let's go to 2 Kings 15 and 30.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 15 and verse 30. And Hosea, the son of Elah, right? Elah, made a conspiracy against Pekah, the son of Remaliah, and smote him and slew him, and reigned in his stead in the 20th year of Jotham, the son of Uzziah.
See, so now we got Hosea now that kills Pekah. So again, man killing king, becoming king, getting killed by another man, that man becomes king. It's just a vicious cycle, right? So this is Hosea is the 19th king. Read 2 Kings 17 and 1.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 17 and verse 1. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hosea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years.
Right, so now Hosea is the 19th king to reign. Read verse 3.
Verse 3. Against him came up Salmanassar, king of Assyria, and Hosea became his servant and gave him presents.
So this is a new king for Syria. His name is, for Assyria, Shalmaneser. And he now is putting freaking Hosea under pressure to give him money. Because remember, the last king of Syria was doing the same thing. So now you got a different king in Assyria running the same game on Northern Kingdom, just using them, right? Let's go to Hosea chapter 7 and verse 11.
This is the book of Hosea chapter 7 and verse 11. Ephraim also is like a silly dove without heart. They call to Egypt, they go to Assyria.
Right. They run to Assyria. And look, now Assyria is like, look, y'all run to us so much, we putting y'all on the payment. Y'all gonna have to pay us, right? Let's go to 2 Kings 17 and 4.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 17 and verse 4. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hosea, for he had sent messengers to So king of Egypt, and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison.
So you see that Hosea was like, all right, I'm not going to pay him no more, but now I'm going to go to the king of Egypt. I'm going to mess with Egypt instead. So Hosea, because of that, he ended up getting locked up. Let's go to verse 5.
Verse 5. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land, and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years.
So he was like, all right, you're not going to give me my money? All right, cool. Now I'm going to take over your land. Let's read verse 6.
Verse 6. In the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in
Habor
by the river of Gozan and in the cities of the Medes.
Cool. So this is it. That's it. Is the northern kingdom of Israel is done. Right? It took 19 kings, all of them wicked, except for one, right? Except for one. What was Joash, I think his name was, the young boy. That was the only righteous king. You only had one righteous king out of all 19 kings, and that's it. They fell. They fell to Assyria, right? You mess with the enemy and you befriend the enemy, and the enemy is going to take over you. And that's exactly what happened. So the northern kingdom, they couldn't stand on their own. But instead of standing with the southern kingdom, they fell. You see what I'm saying? So let's read on. Let's go to, we're going to close it out with Hosea chapter 7, verse 13 to 16.
This is the book of Hosea chapter 7 and verse 13. Woe unto them, for they have fled from me. Destruction unto them, because they have transgressed against me. Though I have redeemed them, yet they have spoken lies against me.
Read on.
And they have not cried unto me with their heart. When they howled up upon their beds, they assemble themselves for corn and wine, and they rebel against me.
You see that? So the Most High was always waiting for them to return, and they never returned to the Most High. Read on.
Though I have bound and strengthened their arms, yet do they imagine mischief against me.
Right. The Most High made them a mighty nation. He made them strong. He made them able to, you know what I'm saying, to go to war and be men of valor. And look, and they played them. Read on.
They return, but not to the Most High. They are like a deceitful bow. Their princes shall fall by their sword for the rage of their tongue. This shall be their derision in the land of Egypt.
Right. So that's it. This is northern kingdom is done. And that's exactly what happens when you go and you fall into idolatry and you disregard the Most High. Right? He's long suffering, but eventually you're gonna have to pay for that. And that's exactly what happened with Northern Kingdom. They paid a hefty price. Right? So with that, I'm gonna say Shalom or praise to the Most High. See y'all next week. Shalom.